Mistakes are just a part of life. As I've gotten older, I found that I learn most from making mistakes instead of avoiding them. And believe me, I've made some mistakes during my healthy relaxer journey and even before I officially started on my journey. I've done things like using a clarifying shampoo every single week when I would wash my hair, never deep conditioning, and then flat ironing my hair every single day. Yes, I said that, every single day. What mistakes have you made with your relaxed hair? Hi, I'm Leah, and in this video, I'm sharing 10 common relaxed hair mistakes to avoid and also provide some tips on what to do instead. So you're going to want to keep watching this video. All right, so I'm not going to beat around the bush. I don't have a long preamble. Let's get into the first mistake to avoid, which is not stretching your relaxer. Now, when I talk about relaxer stretching, I'm talking about going longer than 6 weeks between your relaxer touch-ups. I know it says on most relaxer packaging that you should get your hair touched up every 6 to 8 weeks, but I'm seeing more and more hairstylists talking about this, even including the one that I go to now and my previous one. They say that for most people, 6 to 8 weeks is not enough time. And the reason is you don't grow enough hair within 6 to 8 weeks to have what is desired for doing a touch-up. And that is having a few inches, usually about 2 inches of new growth, which lessens the chance of what's called relaxer overlap, or relaxing previously relaxed hair. So relaxer overlap is, as I said, relaxing previously relaxed hair. And that typically happens when you're trying to just get to the new growth. Now, when you're trying to do your touch-up and just get the new growth, if you don't have a lot of new growth, if you have just a little bit right here, you're going to accidentally relax the hair that's been previously relaxed, causing overlap. And when you overlap the relaxer, it weakens your hair even more, making it even more susceptible to damage. So it's something you want to avoid, and that's why having a few inches of new growth is most desired. On the flip side of that is relaxed hair mistake number 2, and that is stretching your relaxer too long. You don't want to do that. Now, while going longer than 6 weeks can be very beneficial to your hair and it makes you be able to avoid that relaxer overlap, if you stretch longer than your hair can handle, it will also cause some damage. Now, you've probably seen those hair influencers out there who can go 6 to 12 months of their relaxer stretches, and I mean, more power to you. And I know a few years ago, some of us were having to do that because salons were closed with all the shutdowns, so we were having to just deal with it. But some of us, like me, we can't go 6 to 12 months. I mean, I was kind of forced to go longer when there was all the shutdowns, but I ain't going no 6 to 12 months if I have a choice. Now, here are some of the signs that you're stretching your relaxer too long. One is that it's breaking a lot more than normal. Now, you're going to see a little bit of breakage in your hair, but if you're seeing long pieces of hair breaking off, basically your hair is breaking off from where the relaxed hair and the new growth meet, not good. You can also see increased shedding. So we all shed every day a certain number of strands, but if you start seeing more and more of that as you're getting deeper to your stretch, it might be time to get a touch-up. And then your hair can also be drier than normal. I tend to find that when I'm stretching my relaxers, if I don't have my new growth nice and smooth and straight, the oils from my scalp can't travel down my hair strand, and so the rest of my hair tends to feel dry. And so if you're having that issue as you're going deeper into your stretch, you might be stretching too long. So this is my recommendation for finding your optimal stretching length, and that is to start with a number of weeks that you know you're already comfortable with. And then you can start adding a week each time you're going through a stretch until you notice your hair is starting to not respond well, and then you can pare back. Now, you don't want to get to the point where you're causing a lot of damage to your hair, but if you go and you've been relaxing your hair every 6 weeks, try the next stretch going 7 weeks. Try the next stretch going 8 weeks. And at some point you will start to see, this is how far I can go with stretching my hair. And then you'll also see like, yeah, I need to pare back and maybe I need to be at 8 weeks, or maybe I need to be at 10 weeks instead of like 12 weeks. So you'll figure it out. My number 3 mistake is using too much protein. And this is something that can be easily avoided if you're aware that it can happen. So many of the hair products we use have protein in the ingredients list, but unless you carefully and meticulously read the ingredients on your hair products and know what you're looking for, protein can be an easy miss. Now, I share more about protein ingredients in my video, how to tell if a hair product has protein in it. And I'll link that video for you below so you can check that out. The issues with using too much protein on your relaxed hair is that it can cause the hair to dry out, become brittle, break, and frizz up and look like it's reverting to being natural again. So make sure that you understand what ingredients are protein in your hair products, and also use moisturizing products to counterbalance the protein that you are using on your hair, and then you can avoid making this mistake. The number 4 mistake is using too many hair products at once. So I had this issue when I started my hair journey, and I know it can be tempting when you start out on your hair journey, or when you start seeing all these products that others are using and you're seeing great results and beautiful hair, you can be tempted to try new products. And heck, it can even be fun to try several new hair products every week. But it isn't necessarily helpful. When you're constantly trying new products on your hair, you aren't giving your hair time to tell you if it likes the products or not. So you might be using things on your hair that your hair doesn't like and is actually not helping your hair, but taking your hair backwards, and you don't even know it. Plus, you also can't pin down what product is giving you a good hair day or a bad hair day, because you just keep changing them up every single time you touch your hair with a hair product. I did this when I started my hair journey. I was trying all kinds of different products, trying to figure out what worked. I didn't understand that I need to give the products time to actually show me if they were working or not. So over time, I learned that I should just try one product at a time for several weeks. And typically, I will try the product 3 to 4 times to see how it interacts with my hair, and then also see how it gels with my go-to products, the products that I know really work for my hair and are the ones that are going to be in my hair regimen for a while. My number 5 mistake is using too much heat. So heat styling can make our hair look good, but can also cause damage if it's not done in moderation. So relaxed hair doesn't need to be blown out and flat ironed every week, okay? You don't need to do both every week is what I'm saying. I used to do that with my hair, and it created dry and thinning hair for me, which prompted me to actually start this hair journey that I'm on. So instead of doing a blowout and then flat ironing your hair every single week, some alternatives that you can do are air drying your hair, or you can do roller sets to dry your hair, and only flat iron when you're into a deeper relaxer stretch. So when I first have a fresh relaxer, my hair doesn't really need to be flat ironed. It's usually pretty good, but then as I get deeper into the stretch, I have new growth, which then needs to be smoothed out so that the textures are kind of matching more. And so that's a lot of the times when I start bringing out the flat iron. Mistake number 6 is having a long regimen. Now, when was the last time you sat down and really walked through the steps in your hair regimen, or counted the number of products that you use when you wash your hair? You might be surprised at the number. You could be one who's been able to make it simple and cull it down to just a few products and a few steps, or you might be kind of like how I was, where you have a lot of steps and a lot of products that you're using. And you don't always really need to do that. And I found for me this happened by being engaged in the hair care world. We're seeing people who are using this product and that product, this technique and that technique, and it helped their hair, and their hair looks so great. And so it can be so tempting to add it to your own hair regimen because you want your hair to look great and feel great too. Well, that can create a very complicated hair regimen that ends up taking more time to execute than is necessary. When I had this happening with me, I realized that I needed a simpler hair regimen, and that was just not just better for my time, but also better for my hair. And it also allows me to save some money because I'm not buying all of these hair products to use. And it really allows me to focus and hone in on what gives my hair the best results. Mistake number 7 is doing too much when your hair is wet. Now, wet hair is fragile hair, and textured hair is also fragile hair. So when you combine wet hair and textured hair, what do you get? Extremely fragile hair, right? So when you're doing things with your wet hair, you need to be really gentle and try to manipulate your hair as little as possible. I notice that my hair breaks more when it's wet, so I make sure I don't do these things. I don't detangle on completely saturated hair. So when my hair is really, really wet, I do not detangle it. It has to be detangled before in a more like, I wouldn't even say damp state. It's like a state in between damp and dry. I just make sure there's some moisture or product used on my hair when I do detangling, but it's not when it's wet. I don't use a brush on my wet hair either. That's like a big no-no. Like I feel a little piece of me die inside when I even just think about the prospect of doing that. And then when I blow out my hair, when I use a blow dryer and a paddle brush in my hair, I make sure to soak up most of the water in my hair so it's mostly dry. And I either do that by just using the blow dryer and just running it around my hair so that it soaks up and dries out a lot of that excess water, or I will sit under my hooded dryer and let the circulating air take care of all that. Okay, mistake number 8 is not reading your product ingredients. Now, this kind of plays back into my previous mistake when I talked about using too much protein. You want to make sure that you know what ingredients are in your hair products. It's not just so that you don't end up using too much protein, but you also don't want to give your hair too much moisture. You also want to make sure that you know what products work for your hair so that when you're looking for new hair products, then you can look and see, are these ingredients similar or different? And what are the products that I know my hair likes or doesn't like? Like, a lot of women have issues with coconut oil in the hair. So you want to make sure that you read the ingredients for every single new product that you use to see if it has coconut oil in it, because a lot of products do, and they will sometimes hide it deeper into the ingredient list. So knowing what your hair likes and doesn't like can help you more easily find hair products, and so you're not just shooting in the dark. Okay, 2 more mistakes left. Mistake number 9 is not deep conditioning your hair regularly. Now, if you follow me, you're probably tired of hearing about this because I do talk about it a lot. But I am a fan of weekly deep conditioning. It's one of my favorite steps when it comes to washing my hair. But I know everyone's hair is different and not everyone has the time or even really needs to deep condition every week. So figure out what works for you, but I do think you should be deep conditioning on a regular basis, and regular can mean anything for you and your hair, whatever works for you. Now, I like to deep condition my hair because it helps to hydrate my hair, it gives my hair some shine, and encourages elasticity, and it helps to prevent damage from my hair. It just puts my hair in a better state so that it's able to withstand what's going to come at it in between my washes. Okay, hair mistake number 10 might hit home for a few of you, and that is trying to copy other people's hair regimens. Yeah, I said it, I actually said it. I mean, it's very tempting to do. I've even been someone who's tried to do this before because, you know, you just see someone on YouTube or Instagram and you think their hair is very similar to you in terms of the texture and everything, and you just see what they're using and what they're doing, and it's just working for them, and they've got really pretty hair, and they're getting results that you would like to see with your hair. And so it's just so easy to just say, like, here's the products they're using, here's the techniques they're using, let me just go ahead and take all of that and just do it for my hair. But the thing is, it probably won't give you the results you want. And the reason is, and I've said this many times before, everyone's hair is different. So what works for me may not work for you, and vice versa. I share my hair regimen, I share my techniques, I share the products that I use to give you ideas, not to say, like, this is what you need to use, this is going to make your hair look good, feel good. That's not what it is. It's to give you a starting point for things that you can do and use on your hair. And as I just said, using someone's hair regimen is a good starting point, but you need to do your own research. You need to figure out what your hair needs. You need to look at product ingredients. You need to try out products on your own. So when it comes to these hair mistakes, which ones have you been guilty of in the past, and which ones are you currently guilty of right now? Go ahead and share that in the comments. And while you're doing that, please also subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.